Hello, hello, and welcome to another Wordiful Wednesday. And I am super excited to film this today because I am ready to present to you what I think are the three most important current day hustle, entrepreneur, employed by someone else, self-employed, you name it, business books on the planet right now. And these are the ones. These are my boyfriends. This is Tim Ferriss, Daymond John, and Gary Vee. And I know I talk about at least Tim Ferriss and Gary Vee a ton already. I get it. I may be obsessed. But Daymond John has made the list, let me tell you. And Tim Ferriss, I just want to show you, this is the second of the book, the same exact book, it's just the updated version. I also have my original version, so it's 3 books technically, but I have 4. So, let's just talk about these a little, shall we? So, first of all, the reason that I love these 3 books and want to collect them all in one quick review today, and I'm going to try and keep this concise, I really am, is because even though they have similarities and differences in approach to some degree or another, they all are slam dunk home run business books. They are freaking awesome. They all apply to our current digital age in a crazy way. Tim Ferriss's 4-Hour Workweek is the oldest of the books that I have here. Even the updated version, revised more recently, and even thicker than the original, is still an older version, so it's not quite as tech savvy, but it still totally applies. AskGaryVee is all about being in business in this modern age, and so it is freaking phenomenal. And then Daymond John, you know, the people's shark from Shark Tank, this Power of Broke is just awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. So where to begin? Where to begin? Where to begin? I'm going to start with this one. I will start with the People's Shark, Daymond John, and let me just tell you, these 2 books came out, they released at about the same time, and at the time I was so torn because, you know, when you're like so broke that you only have money to buy one book, and even that one book you're going, oh my gosh, that book's $20. How am I going to even afford one of them? So I had to make a choice. I had to make a choice which one to buy and which one to wait to get at their library. And I ended up choosing Gary Vee's book because I already was just super, super enamored with everything that he put out, all of his content on his YouTube channel, all of his Medium posts, all of his everything that he does everywhere, all over the place. So I was like, Gary Vee, surefire hit. I know I'm going to love this. I know I'm going to get my money's worth out of this. I got to go with that. I tell you what, I got this at the library. I'm going to buy it. It's freaking phenomenal. So let's talk about it. So, Daymond John, The Power of Broke, and this is all about hustling and getting stuff done and working your tail off for the business that you believe in. And it is so good. And I have to admit one thing, I almost, even after all of this, waiting for it and being excited about it, and then being so torn as to whether to purchase it or not purchase it, I have to tell you, when I checked it out at the library, I was super pumped to get home and start it, and I almost didn't get past the first chapter because one time I heard on a podcast Seth Godin, who is an absolute marketing genius in the business world, and he's an awesome daily blogger. Such good stuff. Such good stuff. Just a quiet, understated guy who is freaking phenomenal. So one time I heard him say that he reads about 3 books a day. And what that boiled down to is he said he reads a book until he gets the joke and then he stops. And I tell you what, just by the name, you know, you can almost get the joke. Within the first chapter, I was like, I get the joke. I get it, you know. Whether you have money or don't have money, hustle like you don't have money and get it done, buckle down, work your tail to the bone, make things happen. I am so glad I didn't stop at the first chapter. I am so glad I read this entire book. And I am so pumped to have picked this up from the library, and I'm ready to go get my own copy so I can write in it and highlight it like I have my other books over here. This has been such a great book, and what I love is, like I said, you know from the title what you're getting in a sense if you read enough of this kind of book and hustle and entrepreneur and business books. I get it, you know, I get the power of broke just based on the name. I get it. But I'm telling you what, Daymond John power-packed this book full of really eloquently prescribed stories from all walks of life, from all walks of business, and applied them in a way to where everyone has someone in this book that they can really relate to. But even the stories are of people or industries or businesses that maybe I can't relate to, they were still just so interesting to read about. So let me just, and even Tim Ferriss is in this book, let me just encourage you, pick this up. It is awesome, so good. Get past the intro chapter and just rock through the stories and the ways that everybody from, you know, a cupcakery to the Under Armour brand, hello, Under Armour in this book, because they were freaking rocking the power of broke, and that story is so good, by the way. This is a great book. Pick it up. Number 1 to be reviewed today. Phenomenal in my trio of business, entrepreneurial, hustle, hustle, hustle books. Get it. Okay. So, number 2. These are in no particular order of my favorites, by the way. Gary Vee, AskGaryVee, one entrepreneur's take on leadership, social media, and self-awareness, blah, 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 all this other stuff. Anyway, I adore everything that he puts out. He is phenomenal. I've read everything that he has written. I discovered him through picking up one day at the library one of his books that is called Crush It. Phenomenal. I immediately shared it with my entrepreneurial dad, and he liked it. You know, one thing that is interesting is Gary Vee is super crass. He is t-shirts and jeans and sneakers, and he cusses, and you know, he doesn't appeal to everyone, but the very foundation of his message is freaking strong. It is awesome, and it is steadfast, and it is true. In business today, in business 20 years ago, it doesn't matter. He is not a new guy in the business world. He is just rocketing in exposure and awareness now. But he has been hustling his booty off from, you know, practically from birth. So this isn't just a fly-by-night guy. Ask Gary Vee. This book is really good. I don't love it as much as I wanted to love it. I highlighted a ton of stuff still. I don't love it as much as I wanted to love it only because this is essentially the same format as his Ask Gary Vee YouTube videos, and I have devoured every single one of those a number of times, and every time he posts something new, I also devour that immediately. I have the notification on my phone that anytime he posts anything, I immediately get a notification, and if I have time, I'm almost always straight to it. But at the cost of what I had already heard from watching the videos and already hearing the questions and watching the interaction on Twitter and across social media, even though this wasn't new information, I still found myself just highlighting and, starring and exclamation marking and writing all throughout this book. So it's going to be a great reference point. One thing that I am super excited about is I really want to get the audio edition of this book because I pay so close attention to him. I know that whenever he went to do the audio of this, he didn't just read the book verbatim. He read what he had originally written, and then he went off the cuff and just went crazy with new content. So talk about a 1-2 punch. I really, really want to invest in the audio version. So Ask Gary Vee, the book, and the audio version, get both, by Gary Vaynerchuk. Rockin'. He is just freaking phenomenal. I've done a blog post on him before. I think it was called like My Celebrity Crushes Gary Vee. I love him. I love everything he does. He's amazing. And then 4-Hour Work Week. Timothy Ferriss. I hate to say that he's freaking phenomenal and just keep being redundant again, but oh my word. Guys, this book, just the title alone is so deceptive because I want you to know, I'm sure he catches, and I listen to Tim Ferriss's podcasts almost daily. It's just what I work to. I love them. I always learn something. I recommend them. The Tim Ferriss show is amazing. You need to listen to it if you don't already. But know that they last upwards of 3 hours, and so you need a good chunk of time to really soak it in. However, 4-Hour Work Week, this isn't just about maximizing your work time so that you can slack off and do absolutely nothing productive with your life. This isn't a lazy book just because it's called the 4-Hour Work Week. So I want to make that perfectly clear. I know he catches a lot of flack, 4-hour work week, so what are you doing working right now? All this kind of junk, whatever. This book and his podcast and his subsequent books that he has put out, which I've also just really, really, really enjoyed, is all about totally maximizing your time, your energy, not taking 8 hours to do something in a work day that could take 2 hours, because when you have deadlines and it's that week before vacation mentality, when it's the week day before vacation, you get a whole ton done. But if you have a year to get something accomplished, it may take you 3 months to just get started. It's that deadline mentality of maximizing everything that you can do, relying on your strengths, and getting it done. So this is less about being lazy and laying on the beach between palm trees in a hammock. It's so power-packed and full of great resources and ideas for ways to play to your strengths in business and in all aspects of life, and learn from other successes that have maximized their strengths as well. So, oh my gosh, pick it up. Even though, let's see, this revised edition, I think the original was from '07. This revised edition, it looks like, was '09. So, this one is the oldest by far. The Ask Gary Vee and Power of Broke both came out this year in 2016. So, oh my word, my 3 boyfriends, I'm telling you, these guys, if you don't already read these guys' works, and I know that all 3 of these have written multiple books. So these are not the only books by these authors by these businessmen. These guys are making things happen every single day, and they are sharing it with the world. So pick them up. Ask Gary Vee by Gary Vaynerchuk, The Power of Broke by Daymond John, and The 4-Hour Work Week by Timothy Ferriss. I give them all 5 rock stars. They're amazing, and I think they have to be on your bookshelf if you enjoy business. So, thank you so much for joining me today. I hope that you enjoy book reviews as I do. I wish like crazy that I were better about getting videos made of the books that I read, because I love to read. I love it, love it, love it. I just don't always take the time to do a video for them to share. If you have some book recommendations that fall in line with the types of books that I enjoy reading and that I enjoy reviewing, that you see that I have reviewed previously, feel free to leave that in the comments. I'd love to hear your recommendations of, a similar book. I want to read everything Seth Godin has ever written. If you have read Seth Godin, I would love to hear what your favorite books are or what you think I should start with. And, I've read his blog for years, but I haven't ever actually read one of his books. So if you have a favorite one of his, please tell me. I've got so many favorites from over the decades of different business writers. Love them, love them, love them, love them. But these 3, for our current time, do it. Just do it. If you haven't read these, read them now. I encourage you. If you're easily offended by cussing, you're just going to have to let that go for a few books. So I'm sorry if that offends you. I don't want anyone to be offended. I'm just preparing you that these guys don't necessarily have the cleanest mouths. They're not G-rated. But behind the words, the foundation of their message is so good. So I encourage you to pick them up. Thank you so much for taking the time to spend with me today, and I hope that until I see you again, that you are making it a great day.